Hey, I'm Nick Frank, and this is Maritime Inc. We're here at N&M Tattoo and Piercing. This is Nick and Mary's Tattoo and Piercing in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia. Nick and Mary. Mary is my wife. She helped me build this business from the beginning. She actually is the one to push me to open this business. I probably was, I'd say 13. Way too young to get a tattoo, but the opportunity was there, so I got it. I called mom halfway through. Hey, mom, can I get a tattoo? That was a no-go. I'm like, well, I'm already halfway done. Yeah, 13. 13 kind of started it all. She got over it pretty quick. She knew it was done. Thinking back now, she's probably glad I did get that first tattoo. A friend of mine was tattooing, so I was kind of around it a little bit, and I just got an interest into it. I was always drawing in school. I was doing more drawing than what I was schoolwork, so probably 14, 15, I did my first tattoo. And once I hit high school, that was pretty much my part-time job. In high school, I didn't like the idea of tattooing in like kitchens or anything. So I'm like, well, how about this? I'll give up my bedroom. I gave up my bedroom, turned my bedroom into a home studio. So that's where I did my home studio in Bridgewater when I was 15, 16 years old. Trial and error. That's how I learned to tattoo. The proper way would be an apprenticeship. I was too young to get an apprenticeship, let alone to be in tattoo shops at the time. I was 14, 15 years old. Although I did get into a couple shops, got permission from my mother, and get some tattoos, and got a little bit of insight watching it be done professionally. I was tattooing in high school, so I was tattooing all my buddies and their buddies and all that. So come graduation, I flew out to Vancouver. I was 17 at the time. Went around tattoo shops. Nobody wanted me. Finally, somebody took me on. I told them I was 18 years old. Like, I've been tattooing for a few years, and I started in the shop in Cloverdale, BC. Stayed there for my time while I was in the area, and then I flew back for graduation. Graduated, started in a shop in Halifax. So when I come home from Vancouver, I started working in Halifax. I was working in Halifax and Bridgewater for a few years, and then ventured back out to Vancouver. Stayed in Vancouver for, I think it was 2 weeks. 2 weeks the second trip. Come home, and I started tattooing back in Bridgewater again. I got in contact with my wife, not my wife at the time, Mary, and we started our journey there. Probably a year after, we come back to Bridgewater. I had a home studio. It was getting a little too busy in the home studio, so she's like, well, why don't we open a shop? So we opened N&M Tattoo and Piercing. Thanks to my father, we borrowed some money, opened a shop, and we just kept on going. Yeah, family's been my rock for all of this. I do a lot of black and gray. I do kind of like a traditional base style, I guess. Traditional, neo-traditional is what you would call it. Bold colors, bold lines. I don't necessarily do one style of tattooing. I like to do a little bit of everything. I know some artists, they just traditional or neo-traditional or whatever their style may be, they stick into it. I like to have a little bit of range. Anything that's different, not your everyday so-called Pinterest tattoo now. I like it when somebody brings me in a couple elements to make their own tattoo. If they have an idea what style they like it in, that makes my life so much easier. But yeah, I like it when they kind of just give me a few ideas and then I can go with it and create my own. Down here on the South Shore, I do a lot of nautical tattoos. I find we're doing a lot more, we're doing more realism, black and gray. Now when I was out west, there was a lot of requests for more of a like Japanese traditional tattoos. It's such a wide range of people now. Back when I first started tattooing, it was still kind of taboo. People like if you had a professional job, you probably didn't have visible tattoos on your neck or your forearm. Now it's slowly being more accepted. I've tattooed doctors, I've tattooed nurses, I've tattooed lawyers, police officers, professional people, and they have visible tattoos now, hands, neck, arms. There are still some industries that long sleeve shirt, keep it within, but those things may change in time anyway. I've been tattooing, well, since I was 15, so we're, what, 12 years now, something like that. It's big difference. Even power supplies, machines, ink, needles. You no longer have to know anything mechanical about your machine. You don't know how, like, it's just plug and play. Before, there was no plug and play. If you didn't know how to tune that machine, you weren't getting a clean line. You weren't getting nice color packing. Now it's just press a button. Press a button and turn a grip. It's changed a lot.
My first tattoo I got probably when I was 15, and it's been long covered. Yeah, it was a Pegasus, just done by what we call a scratcher now. Back in the day, there wasn't too many shops. I think the journey happened without me not even knowing. You go in for something, and then the next thing you kind of want to add to it, and there's a story to where you got this tattoo, why you got the tattoo. My whole body is just different phases of my life, really. A lot for my children. They were my strongest thing in my life that got me through. I was married really young the first time, and I wasn't allowed to do anything. So after the kid's father and I separated is when I think my journey really started. When I first started getting heavily tattooed, oh my God. It was bad. People were just rude. They would shout at you. They would pull their car over and stare. I actually caused a 3-car pileup up on King Street. I was coming out of the hair shop one day, and I just had my mohawk spiked. I was walking down the street, and this older gentleman stopped his car and looked at me, not thinking that there would be a chain reaction behind him. And 3 other cars ended up being rear-ended because of it. So when the cops showed up, it was kind of funny because, well, they were like, "How did this happen?" And I'm like, he was looking at me.
And your current husband has done a few of your tattoos?
Yeah, he's done a lot.
Some of the early ones.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a bit about that.
Well, I met him when he was 14. He was literally just kind of, I don't know, I knew him as like the little nerdy tattoo guy that just started tattooing. And he knew I liked tattoos. So I used to work over in the mall and he offered to do some tattoo work for me. And that's where it all started. I have one of his first biggest tattoos on the back of my leg here. It's a panther, and he's always wanted to fix it or cover it. And I said no, because now, knowing him years later and being married, it's even more special. So I still rock my panther with great pride. And I have a lot of his first portraits because I was somebody for him to practice on. So he did portraits of our kids on me. And yeah, now we're starting to cover up some of the older stuff with newer stuff because his work's evolved so much in the last 10 years. It was just a few days after Christmas, and my best friend had just got an atomical heart done, and we were going to get matching atomical hearts done. So she got hers done. I don't know if her and Nick had this planned. I don't know. But she got her atomical heart done, and so I thought I was getting mine done. So he had two different stencils, and my head was up like this, and he was placing the stencil. So I really didn't think anything of it, other than he was placing the atomical heart stencil. And when he was done placing the stencil, he said, okay, go in the bathroom and look and see what you think, if it's placed right. So when I went in the bathroom and I looked, it was a diamond heart that said, will you marry me? And little did I know he was placing a ring on my finger, which was the diamond ring that he drew. So yeah, obviously I said yes, because we're still here and doing it strong. Yep. And that was our engagement photo. It's probably my favorite photo ever. I need more. I only have a few little spaces left, but I need more. My goal is to have a whole bodysuit. A lot of it is my kids and my pets and my mom, Tiger for my brother. One of my favorite photos of my daughter, my kids when they were little. These were Nick's first portraits he ever did. And then a friend of ours drew characters of the kids. So he also tattooed the characters on me. So those are my favorite. I have a big cover-up piece going on my back right now. Years ago, I got a portrait done of me and the kids. And over time, it didn't age well. And it just wasn't placed very well. So I love Disney. I'm a Disney fanatic. So my whole back is going to be a big Disney piece. We do a lot of different volunteering in the community, and we like to help out with like food drives. And last year we gave 100 turkeys away at Christmas time to a women's shelter. So, I mean, our name got out that, we're not just tattoos and badass, we have quite the heart. So, and I know what it was like to struggle as a mom.
We donate a lot to fundraisers, participate in quite a few events. We sponsor some stuff. It's really important. We like to keep our shop very community based. If somebody comes in and they need something for almost anything, we pretty much donate to what we can. It's really important to support your community. The atmosphere is different. Like, I find in Bridgewater, it's a little more relaxed. We do cover quite a range of area from Yarmouth to Bridgewater. We have clients from all over. Our other two artists, Joyix and Tuesday, they have a lot of clientele from the valley, so we cover a pretty big area for being a small town. And we try to make our shop welcoming. It's not a scary place. We're here a lot of the time. Like, most of our day is spent here, so I want this to feel like home. So we got a big comfy couch, we got a big table and chairs so people can relax. Word of mouth is your best advertising. You just got to put yourself out there. Do good tattoos. Be friendly. It'll all just fall into place. The hardest part? I don't know. I don't even know. I don't see it as, it's not really a job. It's not considered work to me. It's what I enjoy to do. There's not too many workplaces that you can work with your family. A lot of jobs, it's just you go and you do your work, you go home. Here we get to meet people, we get to explore, we get to travel. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
I got my first tattoo when I was 21 years old, and I thought I was gonna be a super badass. I got this little tiny dragon, it's about that big, on the inside of my wrist. And back in those days, I was in university, no one had tattoos. And I thought I was the coolest guy in the world. And I actually went with my roommate in university, his name was AJ, and we got there, and it was this old, like cheesy, dirty, what you would assume a tattoo parlor in the early 90s would be like. And we're there, and this guy comes in, and he's sleeved, kind of like I am now, except no one back in those days was sleeved. But his sleeve is horrible. It's just terrible. And my friend AJ's got a real sarcastic sense of humor. And this guy's got a bunch of weird stuff at the top that's colorful. And on the bottom down here, he's got names written. So he's got but they're women's names. So he's like Heather with an X through it. But you can still read it. And then like Brittany with an X, Sarah with an X. And there's like 6 of them, and he's getting another one. And my friend AJ said, being super sarcastic, goes, "You're sure about this one, are you?" And he goes, "Nope, I love her. I'm sticking with this one." And I thought at the time, oh God, I hope I'm never that guy. And now, years later, I sleeved. I started out, I never wanted to have sleeves. That was never a goal. I got that one little tiny tattoo on the inside of my right wrist, and then I added something to that, and then I got on a dare, I tattooed the outside of my left hand with a stupid Chinese symbol, which I think looks ridiculous now. But I thought it was funny at the time, and now I'm stuck with it. And then sort of over time, I didn't get another tattoo probably from the time I was 24 until I was in my 30s. And I just sort of thought, I don't really want anything else. I had kids, and I had my kid's name on my shoulder. And that was about it. I was like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. And then I decided, well, maybe I'll tattoo something else on it. And then next thing you know, it just sort of grew. And over the course of like 2.5 years, I went from having like 4 tattoos to having coverage on both arms. So the reason I decided to get the tattoos I have 2 things that I really like. I love sci-fi movies and books and all that stuff. I am addicted to that. Anything Star Wars, Star Trek. I'm an enormous geek at heart. Just because I own a gym doesn't make me less of a geek. Maybe it makes me more of one. So I'm a huge sci-fi fan, and as a kid, and even now, I love medieval stuff. I always have thought it was super interesting, and I read all kinds of Dungeons and Dragons books when I was a kid. So I sort of started on my right arm, and I started with things that were medieval, and it sort of grew. My original thought was I had this castle tattooed on me, and I thought, well, that's cool. And then my tattoo artist said, well, what do you want to do with this? And I thought, well, I like medieval. But I basically said to him, whatever you want to do, you should do. I just want it to look good. So he pretty much designed it all himself. So next thing you know, we have dragons and castles and another dragon on the back, and then the top is actually armor. And then there's a quote within the armor on the top. So the whole top of the arm looks like armor, and the bottom is this medieval thing. And on the other side, I decided I love sci-fi, so the entire bottom is sci-fi. So we have Jean-Luc Picard as the Borg. We have an alien. We've got Boba Fett. There's a Predator on the back, and the whole top is all biomechanical with my name, my last name written down it, and my name and the kids' names as written into that. I do have another plan for a tattoo. If you asked me that 8 weeks ago, I would have told you, no, I'm good, I'm done, because I haven't gotten a new tattoo in probably 4 years. The other day, it was about 6, 7 weeks ago, I was looking down at my hand, and that tattoo I mentioned before on my hand, I thought, I have always hated this darn thing. I need to do something about it. So I actually texted my tattoo artist and said, I need to do something with this. And he said, actually, I have some ideas. So sometime this summer, this is getting covered.
Just angry skin. It says right in the waiver, this is a permanent. Your tattoo is permanent. I don't know. Now say if a young kid wanted something that that we felt they would regret, we probably wouldn't do it. If you're an adult and want the joke tattoo, no problem. But there has been some requests I've refused. I tattooed a lot of people that would have never gotten tattooed 10 years ago, 20 years ago, or even 30 years ago. A lot more older clientele now. Like, I'd say 40 to 80. I had one lady, she was 86 years old. She came in and got her first tattoo. She walked in the door with her 2 grandchildren. They would have been old enough to get tattooed, or some piercings. So I thought she was bringing them in for maybe a small tattoo or a piercing. No, Grandma was getting her first tattoo at 86. Never did I ever imagine that I would have my own business. We opened in 2012, so we're 2019 now. Never did I dream that this would be able to happen. I'd like to do some more traveling, conventions, possibly another shop in the future. So we'll see what happens. Right now, we're pretty comfortable. We have a well-rounded shop. We all do a little something different. We all get along. It's like one big family. I could possibly see another shop in the future.
And yeah, I'll be in contact after summer when I know my hours more. You're probably booked all summer?
Oh no, I'm like mid-June.
Mid-June? Okay.
Yeah, so it's not too crazy.
Yeah, when I run into more money, I'll let you know.
Alrighty, awesome. You have a good one. Never would I have thought that people would be wearing my art for the rest of their lives. I see tattoos that I done when I first started, like my first year or two tattooing, and some of them are still really happy with them. Like, if I'm not happy with them, I'll tell them, I'm like, you need to come see me. We need to freshen this up. But no, it's a great feeling seeing that somebody wants to wear my art for the rest of their lives.